Yep.
Yes. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna hit the button right now. Let me go back over here. What?
Making magic.
This is magic time.
All right, guys. So we are live, and we'll give it here just a minute for everything to kick in.
All right. Yeah, it's still showing that we're waiting on my phone here. Oh, here we go.
Boom.
All right. Okay. Yeah, we have audio and everything.
We do.
Yep.
All right, that's good. Hey guys, welcome. Here we are, Thursday, doing our first ever Q&A panel of locksmiths, and it's pretty exciting, really. And I'm excited to introduce these three gentlemen to you. Now, if you've been watching our channel at all three faces are going to be familiar. Chris, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely, man. It's been a minute. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. We got Kid Lock over there.
Good luck in the house.
Good
Hello.
luck.
Great to be back.
Nice shirt, by the way.
Nice. Hashtag lockboss.
And of course, got my dad, Pete Slauson.
Howdy.
So, guys, before we get going here, if you just want to give everyone a little bit of your background as far as like how long you've been locksmithing and maybe what your like specialty is,
Yeah,
would be great.
My name's Chris. I live in Spokane, Washington. I own River City Locksmith. I've been locksmithing for close to 7 years now, with a pretty good emphasis on residential, commercial, and automotive. And I love it. Wouldn't trade it for anything.
Awesome.
I'm Tanner, aka Kid Lock. I live in Post Falls, Idaho. Work for Country Lock and Key. This is my boss right here. I've been locksmithing for a little over 20 years. My specialty is basically rocking the best customer service is my specialty, being best with customers. And as far as locksmithing goes, I excel in safe work. Love safe work.
Awesome.
I'm Pete, been in for 40 years. As Tanner says, I don't like to be called the boss. I'm a co-worker. And I pretty much do everything. I like the old automotive the best. The new stuff's a little tough on me. But I pretty much do it all, one way or another. Safes, everything.
Awesome, guys. Well, we'll get started here, but before I do, it would be rude of me if I didn't offer you guys each a Capo Chico. Would you guys like one?
I would love one. Yeah.
On the way.
I'm okay.
You don't want one?
No.
Do I get a nice tea?
I don't have any iced tea today, sorry guys.
Straw and umbrella with everything. And
Yep.
I'm in.
All right, so hey, William, Ronald, Walt Volt Amp, how's it going? We got Dave. Oh man, I always feel that I don't know how to pronounce last names very good. Dion, I think. Sorry if I got that wrong. We got Secure Tech Locksmith. He's a new watcher. Thanks for tuning in.
Right.
We have G Keyman.
Awesome. Thanks, sir.
565. Thanks for coming. We got William Murray, Bart Simpson. He's been begging everybody to see. He wants to see boxing matches. You know, I mean, he's been begging for a while now. I mean, is that a possibility after? You know,
I'm a lover, not a fighter at all.
I mean, yeah. We'll see.
These are locksmith hands.
These are lethal weapons, man.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Sure.
You gotta pin locks, not fight.
we got Ken Hoggard. Hopefully, I said that right. Thanks for tuning in. And Gustavo, hey there. Okay, so here we go. So, first question.
All right.
How do you decide as a new? This is from Dave. How do you decide as a new locksmith which and how many different key blanks to stock?
I could probably answer that the best as the most least experienced at this table. It may depend on your region, your specialty. When I started, I was real big on residential, so you knew you had to have all your quick set variants, all your Schlage variants, And if you live in an area that's old enough, Corbins and Sergeants and stuff, but if you don't have it, it's one of those things where you're going to wish you did, and looking at what the most used keyways in your areas are. Same thing goes for automotive too, like what kind of cars are in your area. It all depends on the demographic, but you have to really know your market before you just jump in and buy $20,000 worth of keys you may never use. So a lot of that stuff comes into play.
Okay.
Great answer.
Well, I always, add slowly but surely. When you run into it, okay, I get that key.
Okay,
Build
so
them that way.
But how would you start? Let's say you're decided you want to open up a locksmithing business. Maybe you have a couple customers that help you kind of get going.
M1 padlocks, AM3s, the popular stuff. I'm sure PJ has a list somewhere of the basic, starter. It just takes time to grow it. I mean, we have walls and walls full of keys.
And still adding.
Yeah, but you don't always use them all the time.
There's keys I've ordered, I need them for one job, and I'll
Right.
buy like 20 of them, and I have 19 left still. Like, these don't get used.
Right.
Okay. Tanner?
That's,
Anything that?
Man, they nailed that. Right?
Okay, I want to do a little twist on this question, which is, let's say in your van in particular, right? You can't put everything under the sun in your van, although we know people who've tried.
Yeah.
Right? We've all
Yes.
seen those pictures.
Yes.
What do you decide to actually put in the van to take on the job? Maybe on your, the keyboard wall or something like that.
Boy, yeah. Start with your quick sets. Your quick sets, your KW1s, your KW5s,
Your
KW10s. Couple, some Yales, some Y1s, some Sergeant S22, S22 and a halves.
Y11, Y12, Y13,
Yeah.
Y14.
Yeah, your
That
standard.
Common
Y11's a
stuff.
really hard-working key.
Yes, yes. M1s, you'll run into padlocks here and there. And their standard is going to be your M1 or M10. And then you start with your auto, and the list goes on and on with auto. Start with your basic, Chevy, your domestic keys, your Chevy 10 cut, 6 cut. But there's 6 or 7 or maybe 9 6-cut GM keys.
Yeah, the old ones.
So there's so many, and just start little. Start little.
And as you, grow or as you need, you add to it. We don't have every key.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to add one more question on this one, Dave. I think it could be important here. So let's say you don't have the key the customer needs, right? You look it up and let's pretend it's a 1574R is the key that you need. You identified it, right? You have to order them in packs of 10, right? And probably with some other stuff just to get the free shipping if
Yep.
possible.
Right.
Get that free shipping.
Let's say those blanks cost you 50 cents a piece, just for a random number here, okay? You only needed 2 or 3 for that customer. You've really never seen them before. How do you balance, your pricing for those special ordered keys in, right?
I would make them so it'd pay for the 10 of them, because doesn't mean you're going to use them all the time and you need them for this one job. So the key price is going to be higher.
Yeah, okay,
because of
so
that.
in this situation, you have $5 wrapped up in 10 of
Right.
them.
So I charge them $5 a piece.
So you charge them $5, and if they only wanted one, you just kind of use that as a net wash, and you have 9 more to sell later.
Exactly.
How you do it. Okay.
If you've been in business for 40 years and you don't have a key and a customer needs it, there's a very high likelihood it's going to be a very unusual key. And that price would make sense. You're making your money back, you're getting that key in your inventory, and you're still making your customer happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good question.
I think that has it. So who was it here? Tony, it's Lutchka. Luticha, something like that. Sorry. Lichka. Hey, he says, hey, don't forget to offer your dad a pack of gum for when he swallows his.
I do have one in my mouth.
Okay, here we go from Watt Volt Amp. He says, for anyone, this question is for anyone. Can you pick a Kwikset Titan lock 6-pin with serrated spool pins? Hold on here. Serrated spool top pins. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So can you pick a lock with serrated Kwikset Titan 6-pin? And if so, how long would you guess it would take you?
Well, That's a loaded question.
How's it pinned? Yeah,
Yeah.
Right, is, you know,
Because some are going to be easy
Right.
Yep.
and some are going to be tougher.
You got a 7 depth in there on a Titan.
the great
Right.
about Titan, it's a quick set keyway, so there's lots of room. You're not, you know, some really strange angle where you're breaking your fingers to get in there, but yeah, it may take you a little bit longer.
If I can't pick a lock in 10 minutes, I'm done.
Well, specifically like single pin or just raking it, but there's so many different ways and tools, and I hate to say it, but you know, it's not like in the movies where we sit out there and just, I'm going to pick this lock for 2 hours, I'm going to get it, you know, bump
Right.
it, rake it, leashy. I mean, you got the 6-pin leashies.
Yeah.
The leashes are great.
I love
Yeah.
them. I
They're
prefer
great.
rubber picks.
I couldn't believe how quick and easy those
They
are.
work great for picks.
Pick them up like
Yeah,
that.
and it
easily.
helps me. The leashy helped me figure out the feel of it.
Yeah.
I locksmith for a long
That,
time, but I
that
really
feeling when
never
it
did one
squeeze
pin
and
at a
click,
time.
it feels good.
So granted, as for a basic time frame,
Yeah, I mean, we're in the business of entry, not in the business of impressing our customers. with
anywhere
brownie points.
from 10 minutes. If you wanted to sit there and just pick and pick, you could be there an hour, and your hands are raw and blistering, and you could get it, or you could bump it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Or you can do the ultimate is replace it. Drill it and replace it.
it's true.
For the time, you don't want to do that,
Right.
but there are times you have to do that.
Yeah.
5 to 10 minutes after that point, you have to start looking at plan B and plan
Yes.
C.
Yes.
Now, what do, let's talk for a minute here about a question we had was, what do you guys think about bumping locks? And let me ask a question on top of that to make it more broad here. What's each of yours preferred method for gaining entry to, like, let's just say a house lockout? Okay, let's just keep it simple to a house lockout. What's your preferred method?
We'll start with Chris.
So if I was going to make a list, it would be, I'm assuming quick set or Schlage. That's
Yes.
pretty much everywhere. Leashy, that's my go-to. It's fast, it's quick, doesn't damage the lock. You're in and out in hopefully moments.
Okay.
Leashy, I'll do hand picking between raking, static picking, not really single pin. That's not really a in the lock wild kind of situation there. If that doesn't work, then usually I'll go for bumping or electric pig guns. If you ever use an electric pig gun, Kronos makes a great one. There's a bunch of variants of it. That's the newest one. I really like it. There are issues where it could damage pins if you just leave it in there forever, but we call it throwing gold when you start seeing the shreds come out the bottom.
Yes.
Get that confetti. But bumping, I really like it, and there's some locks that it works really well on, especially some of the older ones where pins are just nubs, where you can just hit it once and it pops open. Commercial's really good. But yeah, I always use bumping as not the first thing I want to always go to, but it's really it has a place in the toolbox of all your skills.
Absolutely. If it's a knob, I go for speed and efficiency. If it's a knob, I'm going credit card right away.
Okay.
I know it's not locksmithing, but these people are locked out. They're freezing cold. I'm gonna get them into the house without damaging anything.
Do you have like a special
Yeah,
thing that
I have a Starbucks Seahawks card.
Okay.
That's my go-to card. I have a couple old Subway cards,
got some luck in it.
and I got a couple old driver's licenses that I use too.
Maybe
And,
some more.
and if that doesn't work, I'll go to single pin picking, raking. That doesn't work, I'll go to the bump key, and the bump key 99% of the time works. Usually
He's a
on
great
about-
bump.
Usually that third or fourth
Bumper.
bump, no matter
Do you
what.
use the little rubber grommets on those, or you just?
We did. We came up with all different. We used to drill a hole, and we used to wrap a spring around the shoulder, cut the shoulder way back. We actually wrapped a coil spring, so it just bounce back instantly. Then we went to a rubber grommet, but we were splitting and tearing up the rubber grommet.
That's
all
what I
the
ran
time.
into. It just digs into it and just splits it.
Yeah, and I just you use CLK's bumping hammer or the
Yeah.
head of the screwdriver, and boom boom.
And I use a hook pick and a tension wrench, and usually I get everything just with those two tools.
like, I mean, after 40 years, OG style.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
This blindfold is no big deal.
He shows up to the fight with a hook over here.
Like a 10-piece list. He's like, I got these 2 tools.
I'm here.
Well, I like the manual pick gun.
Okay.
Okay.
The old spring load one.
Yeah.
And I've seen guys use those. I mean, I've never had any success. I mean, that thing to me is like
That's my
Yeah.
last resource.
irrelevant.
Yeah,
But
same
I
here.
mean, I've seen guys use them. I'm
Yeah.
like, can you show me how to do that?
I know
man?
Locksmith
Like,
hit him the first shot,
Yes.
flips over, and I'm like,
Yeah, Faust
clicking this
loves
thing.
it.
He loves it. He gets them immediately.
Right.
Okay, so we got a question from Phillips Locksmith 00710. Sorry, I feel terrible because I never know what those how to say those names. But okay, it says, what do you guys think about Kwikset smart locks?
Let's take
We
them
have
and
time for
toss them.
That was a question Tuesday.
Yeah.
Smart keys, I mean, it's really cool what they did there for if you're a consumer. If you have to service them or bypass them, and there are some more options now than there used to be recently, but I see them in places that I don't want to see them, like on apartments where they get used all the time and they're just worn out. The first gen was garbage, second gen was not as bad, third gen is okay. But yeah, servicing them when they don't work is horrible. Horrible. Hybrid lock system's garbage.
And the smart key is taken away from the locksmith industry, so when you want it rekeyed or whatever, you're not getting those calls to come do it. I've had people want them, and I'll sell them to them, but
Yeah.
I tell them, they came out with that new tool to
Yeah.
look down the keyway, and
Have you used that yet?
no. But it's one of those things, for what the tool costs and everything, I'd drill it and replace it
Yeah.
Yeah. And
for quick entry, but I'm not a smart key fan at all.
The tool's really cool and I've used it. It's very easy to get used to, but like you said, it takes away from the industry, and some of the first and second gens had some really horrible design flaws with force bypass problems.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was, some people sold tools based on that.
Yeah.
Right.
Now everybody's going out and trying that tool on the
And it doesn't
third class,
work.
and they're snapping that expensive tool.
Yeah.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
front becomes on, yeah.
All right, so this is from Carl Lewis. He says, do you guys use the Lishi PIC decoders? And let's just say for automotive or residential. Like, just in general, do you use them at all?
I use the master just for master padlocks, cut it, write it down after I pick it and do it that way
Okay.
for like hitch locks and whatnot. Other than that, I've never used the decoder part
No.
of it.
Neither have I.
I really like my Nissan decoder. Is really, really great for Lishi because it's just, you're in there, you cut it, you read it, flip it around, same thing. It's really great for automotive. If you are in a time crunch, just decode, read, cut your key, you're out. There's some cars, we all know there's some cars that are just a real pain in the rear to take panels apart on.
Right.
And it just makes it a lot easier.
Especially up here in the Northwest where stuff's cold.
Yeah.
Everything's plastic, it breaks on you, and then you end up replacing a $1,500.
Door panel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It happened to me once.
Tanner, did you answer?
Yeah.
Did you? Sorry, okay. I'm over here reading some of these questions here. Okay, so the next one we got up is Carl Lewis wants to know. We'll get to Carl's in a second here. James Haywood says, do you use space and depth keys? With automotive, they have gotten me over the line a few times.
I'll use my space and depth keys. I'll use my depth keys on 4-8 cuts on a door lock. If I'm just going to pop a door lock out, it's got a fork clip, I'll use it. Look right down the back, use my depth keys, decode it.
Yeah, that's probably the best application I've seen with them is you don't really use them so much in the cutting situation because the way the machines are reset up and
Right.
you can do a whole lot with it, but
Right.
it's really good for decoding. Like
Yeah.
you said, looking down a cylinder and switch the next one.
Yeah, yeah. Until you start noticing, then you can just stick a blank in there and know all your highs and your lows, and you can.
They
When
can
you've
take
been
it right out.
as long as I've been doing it, you eventually read the key just by putting it in, looking at the top of it, and
Yep, just by putting a blank in. and-
right
Yeah.
for automotive.
Yeah.
That's definitely a skill to develop.
Yes,
Okay.
takes time.
Hopefully that helps, James. Carl Lewis has a question. He says, what's the best way to prep your key blanks for impression?
Oh,
We all argue
My
about
favorite.
this.
That's a can of worms.
that's my favorite.
Go ahead, Tanner.
Guys, he's very passionate about this, by the way.
I knife my blanks where it'll cut a tree down. I knife it, I thin the key out, and I knife it and prep it so well that a couple rocks, you'll almost get your key to turn because it's cutting in there, and then it's almost hard to pull it out because your wafers have gone down and put a nice notch in the key. but hammer them out like crazy. I just prep one side of the key. If it's we did a Ford yesterday, 1990 Ford Bronco. Went right to the ignition, pins are on the bottom, original ignition, all rounded out. Prepped that key, and it almost turned on about the third or fifth rock up and down. Especially with cam locks, do the same way with cam locks. Just prep it like a knife.
Again, I'm old school because I take the back of a number 4 file, take the fat meat, just rub it so it's gets all the gloss off, so it's dull looking. Put it in there, wiggle it around, and it's the only way I do it.
Yeah, I don't go as far as knifing it, but I definitely get that to a point where you can definitely read it way easier.
Well, yeah, because the way Tanner does it, I've seen it, and I go, geez, that is pretty good if you can't do it the old way. No.
And then you taught me with the marker, doing it with the marker, or your lighter with the black suit, and just
that's on the flat steel.
Yeah, I've seen those with the candle, and they they smoke them, smoke the keys.
Now since there's markers around, you can do it that way.
I love it.
It doesn't look as cool though if you have a candle.
Love impressioning.
Sit in your
burned
van with your
myself.
candle, you're just cutting keys.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so we got this one here from Rick and Brandy Billion. Hopefully I said that right. He says, being a rookie, looking for advice, I get a lot of calls for vehicle keys, chip, fob, etc. I have purposely stayed away from getting involved in this because I was intimidated. I have been sticking to residential and commercial. What's a good starter machine inventory to learn and start down that path?
I can probably speak the most truth to that. I started doing automotive about 3 years ago with zero experience. No one taught me anything. And what I can say is it seems like it's a scary, deep, dark world, and there's no information except for what you teach yourself. There are tons and tons of resources, whether between associations. PJ does a ton of videos all the time. And there's resources. You work with the right people. Work locally. If you have a good reputation and you can reach out to people in the industry around you, a lot of them will teach you things you need to know. If you have downtime, teach yourself. Look up, whether it's manuals, the right tools. All the little things. Just stack it up a little bit of time. Certain cars are really easy, and then some cars get to be more complicated. And it's one of those things. You want to start with the easy stuff. Teach yourself the basics. Machinery. That's a huge hurdle. Some key machines are way more expensive than other ones. You may have to get a used key machine. You may have to get something that's a little bit easier to work with financially, but there's so many different options for programmers. CK100 is a good entry level. If you're just starting out, you're not going to roast someone's $5,000 Jaguar system with it, but it's a good entry level machine to get started with.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's my 2 cents.
that's it. I don't know what to add to that.
Well, it just takes time, I've used everything from the old Ford, what was it?
NGS.
NGS.
Yes, the
I
cards.
mean, the first ones back in the 90s. There's so many different machines, and the Dart machine just for Dodges, everything changes. The automotive industry changes daily, it seems like. They're always coming out with a new product you have to learn. People come into our shop where we go out, something we learn. Every day is a learning experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think what I would add to that is, I think a great starter machine, and there's a few different ones out there, like Chris mentioned, but like the Autech iKey 820.
That's a good one.
Kind of a lower, because I'm guessing like you're getting some calls, and I think it's really good for people to test the market. And I kind of have a theory on why some of the bigger companies in the key programming space get picked on so much. Mm-hmm. I think it's not that they don't have good machines, but I think people are buying a machine that's way too expensive to where their business is currently at.
Yes.
Right? And so starting with like a machine like the Autech or one like it is a great place where you have a pretty good coverage. At the same time, you're going to be able to get your feet wet, and get some of that money rolling.
Autech's a really good machine for its price. It's a really good machine for its price.
It is.
Absolutely.
And if you are going to do automotive, you do have to put some investment in to get going. In the newer cars, the old cars like I did all the time, you got Curtis clippers and everything else, and
Pack and punch,
cams.
all that stuff. Yeah.
It's all great, but it takes time. Start and just keep moving.
Yeah, so I want to give a quick shout out to Mario. Saw you there. Shark City Locksmith. We have Jeff Moss. How's it going? Thanks that you're happy to make it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I think you know him.
The
don't you?
Moss. I know the Moss. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's a great guy. What's up, Moss?
Okay, so we got a question from Willie Nelson.
Wow.
Yahoo!
Yeah. He says, when starting a business, how do you choose location and between population and competition? Like, what's a healthy balance?
What's the question again?
When starting a business, how do you choose a location and between population and competition? I think he's saying is like, I think I get what you're saying is like,
Is this brick and mortar?
I kind of get out of the question that he's asking, like, do you go to a big, like, you can go to like a bigger market where there's a lot more business, but there's a lot of competition there as well, or you could go to the suburbs of that and there's not as much population, there's not as much business, but there might be less kind of competition. Like, how do you balance the two of those? You know, like where's the healthy balance in that?
Well, my experience is the bigger population, there's going to be more locksmiths, but you're going to, if you have a brick and mortar place, you're right. You got to think of those rents. I mean, because if it's slow, even if you're out in the Tules and you decide to open up a place, a shop, I'm talking, you got to think of the costs. You're not going to make as much in the outskirts. But if you're mobile, it doesn't make a difference. You just move wherever you want.
Yeah, he is saying mobile.
Yeah.
So in a mobile situation.
Oh, mobile, you can go anywhere because you're always going to have competition. Mm-hmm. Be good at what you do, and competition doesn't bother you. Absolutely. It keeps us all good and honest.
Yeah.
I think if you're walking into a big city that has multi-generational established businesses out there, you're going to really have a big uphill battle. If you're in a mid-sized metro area, the politics of the area and the people and the pricing and what you're going to see out there, it may behest you to stay in the area you're more familiar with. But yeah, like you were saying, it's the mobile stuff. You can
go anywhere.
You can go anywhere. We were just talking about that earlier. Yeah, you can kick up the wheels. You're in the next town.
That's it.
Any other things to add to that?
Keep a good relationship with all the other locksmiths, local locksmiths too.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yes, keep a good bond between your competition. It could be competition, but keep a good bond. Help each other out.
Okay, so we have a question from Phillips Locksmith again. He says, "What is the best way to advertise your business in the residential and commercial?"
One thing you could do, and there's hundreds. There's a lot of places that make keys that don't service locks, i.e., big box stores, department stores and stuff like that. And I was told that I should look into that, and I did. And I get a lot of clients from a lot of these businesses that say, "Hey, we bought locks. We need this and stuff installed." If there's a local supplier or hardware house around you that does, architectural store or hardware places, make sure they know who you are and what you're capable of doing. You have a good, clean reputation, and they will refer customers to you by the boatload.
Yep, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, go in and get connections. Connections to hardware stores, Ace Hardwares, local hardware stores. Yeah.
I knew a locksmith, and this is more or less serious thing, but he would take his cards and slide them into the boxes of like the big box stores. So if someone buys a just like Deadbolt, they open up, his cards sit inside of it right there.
Yeah. Ninja.
Well, a lot of the local Aces where we're at, if they can't do it, they send it our way. So it's good to have good relationships with the box stores, Aces, wherever.
I think that's good. I think that's a good actionable step that he can take, tomorrow.
Yeah. You got cards, you got time.
Yeah, and so when you went to them, though, I mean, like, you just said, "Hey, I'm Chris with River City.
Yeah.
I do locksmithing," and just kind of start up. And like, they probably don't view you as competition.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? I mean, okay, so yeah, that's good. Hopefully that helps. Okay, so
donuts. Take them in some donuts.
Take them in some donuts. Okay, so
Donuts always win.
G Keyman 565 wants to know: does anyone at the table do safes and combo lock? changes, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I think all of us. Do you, Chris?
I don't do safes.
Oh,
And it's not a lack of skill or time or anything. It's I have so much on my plate with clients and accounts and stuff. I don't know if I can handle anymore.
yeah.
And
When
that's-
you're a one-man shop,
yeah.
so you can only spread yourself so thin.
Exactly. I don't want to add a whole other segment to it.
Right.
Not to say that it's impossible to do, but if I'm feeding myself very well, I don't need more on my plate right
Right.
now.
And learning how to do that though is a good money maker.
Mm-hmm.
It's real basic to change a combo on a safe.
How long would you say it would take someone that would be in my position that has a good round skill set to be competent in safes?
In just changing the combos?
Or between learning all the spectrum of safe openings and repairs and combination changes. If someone wanted to get into it that didn't do it, how long would you think it would take?
Well, there's so many different types. That's the issue. Just to change combos, you're looking an hour to be efficient with all the different types, with the dial, hand changes, key changes.
Yeah.
Penetration. We have a stack of books like this, and we do a lot of work for the manufacturers, so they give us the specs for drilling and whatnot.
So they gotta give you guys a little heads up at least.
Yeah, if it's for them,
Yeah.
or if we have a question, we call them and say, hey, this is so and so.
That's what I found surprising. A lot of safe manufacturers are very, very willing to work with
Right.
local guys. It's not just like, I'm not telling you nothing, hang up.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Don't be afraid to call the local or the manufacturer and tell them who you are, and they'll ask you your zip code, and they'll give you drill points. They just want to verify who you are.
Right, to make sure.
We don't usually have to get drill points anymore. We have all the cool. Well, we have me.
That's it. You're the man.
I'm the drill rig and the template.
Hey, on a quick side note, let everyone know like the difference, what it's like to drill a safe without a good drill rig compared to just trying to go cheap.
Well, I got a bad back from pushing it, put the drill into my gut and try to push steady. And then once you get a drill rig and you use your finger, you go, oh my gosh, can't believe it's that easy.
Can't believe you broke your back
Yeah.
for years and years and years.
Oh, for
yeah.
tons of years.
Ratchet straps around the. We didn't even
Right.
have a long jig or a strong arm. We just had ratchet straps and a drill. And
Right.
just click,
No.
click, click.
Now we have all that stuff that you run into things, but the drill jig is a definite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So, all right, guys. Well, we're already past the 30-minute mark, so we'll do a couple more questions,
Okay.
and I'll let you guys all get out of here. David Slink. Oh man.
Always a challenge.
I mean, I'm gonna need to go to pronunciation school at this point, But David Sincard, something like that. Sorry, David. He says, how has COVID affected this business, and what's your take going forward? I think that's a pretty relevant question.
Well, as the guy who has 3 stores and lots of employees, when it pretty much started, it pretty much closed us down. We cut hours. We did, from doing 20 calls a day, we had 2. And then once it got better, it's been booming. I think this will be our best year ever
Absolutely.
because we're rocking and
So,
rolling.
I mean, it sank down for you,
Oh,
but it's
did it
come
ever.
back
a
hard.
month real in the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now
Okay.
it's come great. Wear masks, do what you have to be safe. And if your client wants you to, just do what they wish. Wear your gloves, the mask.
Yeah.
Just be safe for them and for you.
We had about a 2-week span. Same with probably you guys. Everything's kind of reeled back. Everyone was kind of taken aback by shut down everything, and then it just momentum, and it's again. This will be a very good year.
Full speed.
I literally was rushing to get a job done before I came over here. Like I still got the graphite on my hands. Like it's been nonstop. Like
That's good.
I'm very happy
That's
with
super
where,
good.
where things are. But yeah, wear masks. protect yourself and your customers. And some customers will say, "Oh, don't wear a mask. Don't worry about it."
I'm in.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's I'm fine with that. But the last thing you need is someone freaking out, going online, just berating your business because you're
Right.
like, well, I don't think they're gonna care. So you have to take precautions, and that's the way the world is right now. Just hopefully move past it.
Yeah, safety,
Right.
safety first. Yeah.
Safety's the game.
So, kind of what I hear is you guys going forward. I mean, as far as like masks and stuff go, it's kind of very political nowadays. Unfortunately,
Absolutely.
on both sides of the spectrum. And so, how do you guys kind of like what you said? How are you guys responding to where like you show up to a business or customer's house and they're like, have you found anyone who's gotten upset with you for having a mask on?
Yes.
Or not having a mask on? And
Both ways.
both ways.
Yeah.
How about you?
Not so much as like, what are you doing? Put your mask on. But like, oh, do you mind if you put your mask on? That was kind of that really gray period of people didn't really want to wear them. The states were kind of changing positions. So then at that point, I was like, well, I'm just going to carry one in my pocket, and if they want me to, I will. But most of the time, I just get laughed at. Like, oh, you don't need that thing. Come on,
Yeah.
come inside.
But most of the elderly
Yes.
homes and stuff, you definitely do that, and they require you. They take your temperature, make you put on the headgear.
That's the thing now for
the whole
commercial is going through that whole song and dance now. I did a couple retirement facilities, and yeah, it's sign here, take your temperature, we're
Right.
gonna desanitize everything, and
So it's rough right now.
It is.
But it's
Yeah.
getting better.
yeah,
I think it's getting better.
my cup overfloweth.
Okay, guys, we'll do two last quick questions. The first one is, do any of you guys currently use a HPC Blitz code machine?
Like not the punch key one, but the actual
Like the 1200
oh yeah
Blitz.
the old XY
Yeah, you do.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a rock solid machine.
Yes.
It is. It's a dinosaur, man.
So when you put those cards in there, make sure you do it slowly and don't bend your needles because that's the
The
only
newbies
problem.
will always shove the cards in.
Yep, fast. And
That's
they
it.
bend them and then you're in trouble.
Yep. Yep. I love the 1200. Absolutely.
I have cards when I purchased mine. I got to use, and it came with cards from like old Yugos and like 1950s Mercedes, like hard
I got
never
them all.
use, right? And the binder's like this big. I'm like, I need like maybe 10 of these for
Yeah.
now.
Yep,
And
Yep.
right.
yeah, it's great. You keep it tuned in and calibrated. It has a place on my bench.
Now
I
there's
love it.
software for those to get. You don't really have to buy the cards. You can just print your own out
Oh, yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
I
With
printed
good
a couple.
software.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely the way to go. And when
Absolutely.
you pull up a code and you're like, oh, I don't have that one. Right?
Yeah.
Or the missing. I mean, back in the day, a missing card was like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I used to
Yeah.
go to the.
Card 58.
Yep, 58 and 59.
58, 59, the micrometers.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
man.
said the micrometer cards are
Yeah.
great. You get that with like a good piece of code software, and it tells you exactly where you need to be. You're just
Exactly.
like, that looks good.
Yeah.
Tanner Chad says, awesome shirt, man.
Hey, rock it if you got it, man.
All right, guys, last question. More of a kind of a fun one. What is your favorite lock lube? And that's from Lockman MD. You only can pick one. And it's really relevant because I have a video coming out tomorrow about this.
I always mispronounce it. It starts
So,
with an
great
H. What's the H stuff you sell?
Houdini.
Houdini. I always call it Hercules because it's such a great thing.
I'm a Triflow fan. Love it. Love it. I love Lock Saver for cleaning, getting all the gunk out of ignitions and locks, getting all the old graphite that people dumped a tube of graphite in the ignition, flood all that stuff out of there, and then I'll lube it with Triflow.
Okay.
Love it.
If I'm using a general lubricant, if I'm gonna, let's say I walk into a house, I'm gonna be picking the customer's lock. I usually don't go for the Triflow, the Houdini. I usually just get silicone, just something just to kind of get it worked up in there. But if I'm going to be servicing ignitions or I'm working on something I know needs to have a long lasting, Houdini. Houdini's great.
And it's a lemon flavored, or not flavored, smelling. I don't eat it.
Freshen up, right?
That's it.
Swallows
Yep.
his gum.
Wow.
Oh, that's how it goes down. Okay.
Banaka.
All right, guys. Well, there we have it. So this is the first ever Q&A panel. You guys like it? Some of you guys want to do it again? I'm going to put you on the spot here while we're still live.
Great questions. Really good questions.
Yeah.
Absolutely good questions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll try to do, it's kind of a last minute thing we threw together. Sorry, guys. We try to get some advertisements out there a little bit, but we'll do much more notice when and if we do this again, which I think we will. So that's it. Well, let's see here. Tim, Chad, man, thanks for hopping on, and everyone's saying thanks, guys. And someone on here love Tri-Flow and die by it, so they're on Team Kid Lock on that one.
Love Tri-Flow. It's just
So,
works.
awesome, guys. Well, hey, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Chris, Tanner,
Absolutely.
Dad,
Thanks for
You're
having
welcome.
us.
and we'll see you guys next
Good
time.
luck.
Thanks for the questions.